neighborhoods. There are blacks sitting out on the sidewalk with filth all behind them, with weeds growing as tall as I am, run down beer cans, bottles. They sitting there on the streets drinking and smoking the marijuana joint. And anytime you find find a group of people, or human beings that say, I don't care how I live as long as I live. Mm. And see, and when you do that, you can control them. That's how they can control blacks so easily. Say, we might someday give you a job and take you off that corner, take you out of that rotten house, a roach infested, a rat infested house. But until that day, just sit there and wait and be nice, be under control. And we had the police come around, drive by once in a while, tell you to move off the corner, or he'll take and beat you up in the head and run you off the corner. And see, one thing I learned early in politics, way back in Machiavellian theories of politics, which says, anytime any person, and this is what black folk never got in their heads, anytime you confront a man who says, look, he says, before you allow you to enslave me, my wife, my children, and beat them, mistreat them, and sell them into slavery again, I'll die first and take you and your family and your dog and burn your house down, everything else. I'll never let you mistreat me and enslave me. I wouldn't let you enslave me for 1 month. Now alone for 460 years enslaved in Jim Crow slavery. Never happened. You cannot enslave a person who say, I'll die first. But if that same person say, I don't mind how bad the conditions are as long as I can just get along and be their friend and go to their school, go to their neighborhood, to their movies and to their theaters, I can live with it. Don't ever let people put you in that condition. And that's why we can't get our people out. And that's why I push so hard to say black folk are special people, exceptional people. Say, no, I'm not gonna do it. Now, if you wanna kill me, you kill me. But I'll be damned if you're gonna mistreat me and my family and my entire race for 460 years. It ain't gonna go like that.
Mm. Well, I wonder, Dr. Anderson, it almost, I'd be curious to know more. I know you touched on this before, but what sort of codes and systems were put in place to put black people into that special type of brainwashing? Like, what were some of the things? Like, it seems like religion. I think about religion. I think about not because I think the church is always a bad place. I don't have any problem with people to go to church, but it seems to me that there is something about the way things are done in the church where people just, I remember hearing somebody say, I'm not worried about what I go through in this life. I'm waiting to get my rewards in heaven, that kind of thing. And I'm wondering how the church was used in the U.S. to reinforce that very complacent sort of mindset and ideology. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's exactly what they did. As I said, when slavery took off in the early 1500s, and it was increasing in popularity all around the world. You had various nations fighting each other, trying to get in control. British was when it went from Arabs to Portuguese to Spanish, and then to the Norwegians, then the French and the Germans and the British. They're all fighting who wanted to be the primary slaves and holders in the world. And in that process, what they did, they set up a different kind of codes. Now, going back to the 1500s, the code there was again what they call the catechisms, which means when every time you sold slaves into the United States, it was responsibility of the landowner, because you gave him free land and you give him free labor and give him money to buy the land, to teach him the catechisms of being a slave. That slave had to learn the catechism, and the white man would say, okay, here's the Bible. The Bible it represents God. You're to follow this catechism and what God says. When I ask you, who enslaved you? And you would say, God did. Well, who's your master? God is my master. Who made you a black? God made me black. Who made you a weak people? God made me weak. And so they started teaching that as catechisms. And I think, and in the Black History Reader, I put that whole section in there for you so you can read that. And so every white man taught black folk that they were at fault, and the conflict was between them and God. And so about late 1500s, King James then says, well, we got the Jewish scriptures now, since the Khazarians took over the Jewish religion in about 900s, because you see, original Jews, first Jews were blacks, and King Balan, the Khazarians sent troops down to the Jewish areas there, and found some blacks rabbis, about three, I think it was three of them initially, had them to come back to Khazarian, up to the Khazarian area between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, and teach them the Hebrew scriptures. And so they began to learn the Hebrew scriptures. That's when blacks lost their hold and grasp on the Jewish religion, and the Khazarians took over the religion. So right now, most of the people you call Jews, those are the second people that took over the religion from black folk. Those are Khazarians. Those are not Jews, but they're wannabes. But now they got it and control it. So by the 1500s, that was the 900s. So they took it over. So that was in about 900s. So by the 1500s, King James gave the Bible to about 15 writers to say, take this Bible and rewrite it. And a lot of the things in the King James version are rewritten. And see, all that language you see, like thou do this and thou goes here, and all, that's English. That's not Arabic language. And so they taught them then that they're not right in there to justify why we enslaving these black folk. And so they told them that, well, it's because one of the sons to Noah saw his daddy naked, and therefore he was cursed. And then Noah got ticked off, and he cursed the whole black race and said that from now, black folk will be the slaves of servants, slaves of slaves, and forevermore. And so since they put that in the Bible, people that read the Bible started believing it. And even none of them ever questioned, well, how in the world did Noah have the power to override Jesus and God, saying that forevermore blacks will be slaves? Nobody ever gave him that kind of power. And so the Jews then took it over, and they got the religion. Now